Grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety splicket. Go watch a movie. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Go Watch a Movie, episode 174. Who are we? Nobody. No, I'm Kelvin.
I'm nobody. I'm Robert.
Today we're doing the movie Nobody. But before we get into that, a little bit of entertainment news. First and foremost, Spider-Man news. Good old Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2, has spoiled it. He's like, it's all over the internet, so I might as well. It's time for me to talk about now. He will be making an appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home as Doc Ock, and they will be using de-aging technology to make him look like himself from that movie. Thoughts, sir?
Well, it kind of, I don't. That's fine and dandy. It kind of sounds like he's going to be like, instead of like going through like,
multiverse.
Yeah, it sounds multiverse-ish, but it sounds like he's going to be going movieverse. Like he's going to be bouncing from movie to movie, like not necessarily connecting all the movies together, but at least referencing all of them in this one. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it regardless, but I'm just curious what like the the ultimate end is supposed to be.
Yeah, I can't remember if Multiverse of Madness is before or after the Spider-Man, but multiverses are opening up, and I guess supposedly, Spider-Man into the multiverse is canon, quote unquote. It's just animated, so and they were supposed to make an appearance in that movie, but it was cut. So I don't know. There's so many rumors. Because once again, he came out and said, so they're not in this. Andrew or Toby's are not in this. Tom Holland came out and said that. So it's gonna be interesting to see the craziness.
The guy that spills the beans. Obviously, he's lying.
Yeah. He's trying his best to not spill the beans again. So, yeah.
But it's fine. At least they got the same actors to do it,
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm okay with that.
And Doc Ock had one of my favorite scenes in all of Spider-Man. When he threw that car through the window when Peter and Mary Jane were on the date in Spider-Man 2. And Peter just barely dodges the tire. It was, just beauty. Magic. Movie magic right there. We on here. So last week, we had a conversation about Dave Bautista and The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I put up a poll.
Oh, God.
There were only arousing. There were five people who answered it on Twitter, but I screenshot it and put it on Instagram and Facebook as well. And they got lots of likes. But the screenshot I took of it was on Twitter of Bautista at 100% as a better actor than The Rock. So I'm going to count the people liking that also as roots for Bautista.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I guess, well, fine. Bautista, he wins. He's the winner.
Speaking of the big man, the smaller big man, because Rock is bigger than Bautista, he was in an interview here recently and said he would love to play either Bane in the DCEU or Lobo.
No.
I can see him as Bane.
Yeah, I don't see Lobo though.
Lobo, friend, son of a, I don't know.
I don't see Lobo, but I do see. I guess he could do Bane, but
he would. Probably wondering what he would play on. Who's wearing a mask? It's been a while since I've been on that.
I like the last. I like the last Bane. I know. Once I get a Bane stuck in my head or a Batman or whatever, it's over.
I thought Tom Hardy was fantastic. He was great.
It's amazing how he transformed himself into that, in my opinion. Because pretty epic.
Lobo would be a real test of his acting chops.
It would be weird to see a Lobo though in like a movie because he's kind of an out there character, kind of weird.
He showed up in one of their shows. I don't remember if it was on their Krypton show or one of their CW shows, but he did pop up. But I hear you.
Yeah, in the show that makes sense, but in the movie, like they're taking it a little more serious.
Oh,
like,
you're right. Yeah,
they're taking a little more serious. So seeing all of a sudden Lobo pop up, we just be like,
because he's a larger than life kind of comic book guy. Yeah,
and comical. I feel like he's very comical, but yeah,
I hear you. I see where you're going. Yeah.
But that's just me.
And Flashpoint may shift gears enough for them to do that because that is happening. So we'll see.
I got a lot to look forward to. A lot of confusion. A lot of sleepless nights wondering what's happening to the world.
Ezra Miller's odd Flash run. Mm-hmm. So many things. But yeah, that's entertainment news. Those stories and more can be found at gowatchmovie.com. That'll bring us to trailers. You first to me, sir.
Go right ahead.
I am going to do the industry standard thing and go with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Holy moly, you know what? I haven't seen it yet.
The newest addition arrival from the Marvel trailers. Looks fantastic. Looks great. It's definitely a turn from the normal. I guess what the last thing we got was Endgame, so everything's going to be a turn from that. But Shang-Chi is getting trained by his father, and the reason why his father says he's like, I'm training you to be able to survive all the most powerful people in the world who want to kill you. And then they should go to a little montage of showing people coming to try and kill him and him defending them, and showing him young, training, punching basically divots and holes in logs, and being able to beat anyone. But the Ten Rings come to play, kind of. We already have seen a bullshit Mandarin with Iron Man 3. Wherever you do, wherever you go, the world's going to turn to crap. You know, that guy. They turn out to be a crazy person, but you know, so they show 10 rings in this, but it is the person's kind of wearing them up their arm, not like finger rings.
Huh?
So I'm not sure how they're going to translate that. It was a trailer. It's hard to interpret it. But
I definitely need to see this one because
check this one out.
All right. Well, mine, it's called The Waterman.
Waterboy?
The Waterman.
Oh, okay.
The Waterman. I guess it's probably, I feel like it's geared more towards a younger audience, maybe young, like teen somewhere. I don't know. But I like the setup. And it kind of made me feel like some, like older movies that I've seen. I'm kind of, I don't know. It just looked cool. So basically this family moves to a new town. The mom is sick. Somehow she has something and she's like basically dying. And the kid is coping with her illness and probable death by imagining stuff. And so he hears a story in this town about something called the Waterman. And apparently it's this guy who's been like living in the woods, like looking for his wife that he lost or something, so he could bring her who died, so he could bring her back to life. And there's this weird legend in this town. So he's like going to go. So the kid's going to go find this guy So obviously, so he could save his mom somehow, because he thinks that's the way to save his mom, who's like, has this illness. And you see him going through. He goes and he finds this little this strange girl who lives in town, who apparently knows where the waterman lives, and lives in a tent in an alley or something. And it's kind of hard to explain because it's got a weird story. But essentially, he goes with this girl into the woods to find this guy that he thinks will grant him powers to save his mom. And it just looks like something that back in the day I would have liked to watch. I feel like it's geared towards a younger audience, but I also feel like it's got a really good story. I think it's got Rosario Dawson in it, and another. She's the mom apparently that's sick and dying, and it just looks like something that I would have liked back in the day. And so that's my trailer. Check it out if you would like. It's called The Waterman.
The Waterman.
The Waterman.
Don't have to check that one out. I've not seen it. That will bring us to Nobody. Watchbot, if you would not mind.
Hutch Mansell fails to defend himself or his family when two thieves break into his suburban home one night. The aftermath of the incident soon strikes a match to his long-simmering rage. In a barrage of fists, gunfire and squealing tires, Hutch must now save his wife and son from a dangerous adversary, and ensure that he will never be underestimated again.
Sounds odd to say nobody. That brings us nobody. Nobody has blinded me. That's Odysseus history, learning your history, people. Bob Odenkirk. Most people were introduced to him from Breaking Bad. He's in the hit show Better Call Saul, but he's been doing comedy and stand-up and improv for years. So seeing him in this was a massive turn for me, because I've known him from the comedy scene and only the comedy scene. I guess there's some dramedy in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but still. So I went into this praying that I didn't get, but expecting John Wick. But because that's kind of the trailer kind of lends itself to. But luckily, that is not what we got here.
No,
I feel like we got some depth and some emotion and shotgun blast and good time.
Yeah.
What about you, sir? Those are my first impressions.
My first impression. First, let me say I wish I had not watched the trailer. I wish I had gone into this like completely blind, because I love the opening. He's sitting there. He's in the police. He's obviously in a police station. He's weird though because he has like handcuffs, but they didn't pat him down because he got all this crap in his pockets. But he's got handcuffs on. He's sitting there. He reaches in. He grabs a pack of cigarettes. He pulls a cigarette out and a lighter because he's got a lighter still for some reason. And he starts smoking a cigarette. You never see him smoking any other time in the entire movie, but he's smoking a cigarette now. And then he pulls out a can of tuna. I'm like, okay, guy's hungry. Guy's got to eat. Pulls out a can of tuna, and then he pulls out a can opener. I'm like, okay. And he starts opening the can of tuna, and then he pulls out a freaking cat out of his jacket. That right there tells you what you're in for this movie.
But you got to know, those are the worst cops in the history of all copdom.
Yes,
because any of those things could have been used as a weapon to kill them. Especially after we find out, yes, you throw a cat at someone's face, it's over.
I mean, that's a good diversion technique, but I don't know if it's over.
You swing it by its tail. Now it's pissed. Let it go at their faces. Oh, game over, man.
But I love the setup. That was perfect.
But think about what they just arrested him from. Spoilers, as we find out, later in the movie.
Yes.
And they let him bring all of that.
Yeah, including the painting. I'm covered in blood. I'm just gonna bring my painting with me because can't have that.
Oh man, so crazy. Jesus, yeah.
But I love that setup. I think that set the tone for the movie,
Yeah.
Because it does get very serious, and then there's a scene, obviously, in the bus, which you see in the trailer, which gets very realistic. But then it goes to comical after that, almost, not quite, but like some of the scenes, like action scenes, get comical after that, because I don't know, it sets the tone for the movie perfectly.
I love the idea, though, or the not the idea, but the fact that he suck. Hey, I'm recording. Sorry about that. Phone call.
No problem.
Hey, I'm back. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah. I love the fact that he has some reservation at first. He's got an inner conflict. I think that was fantastic for me. He definitely leans, it's less of a conflict, I guess, because he leans more into, I want to go back to this. I miss this.
Yes, I love how...
But at the same time, he still wants his family, like he wants that. But it's like, oh, I really want them to come on, open that door.
Well, look at the beginning, like the second part of the beginning of the movie, where he's like, it's Monday. It's like Monday over and over and over again. He's like repeating the same boring process over and over and over.
Groundhog's Day without being Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, basically. So it's like, of course he wants to go back to what he used to do. And he's like, that's why, like, towards the end of the movie, he's crossing his fingers, hoping something happens. Hoping. I love that, because he's the whole thing. He's just like, man, I'm so glad I'm back to where I should be, as opposed to what I've been doing. But I still want what I have, but I want to be able to do this too, which is a great message. I think it's like he wants to be.
It would be hard, as like almost impossible, for someone to go from doing that, a cleaner, auditor, I guess he calls himself, to just every day the same.
I agree, but man, I mean, the wife and the kids, that's not, to me anyway, not having a wife and kids sounds amazing.
Yes.
But so I can see why
not having one.
Yes. So I could see why somebody would want to do that.
Yeah, to kill everyone.
And and I understand, like, I love the scene where he explains why, because he's supposed to take out a guy, and then the guy is like, he's crying, and he seems really, really, honest about being sorry about what he did, and he wants to just live a normal life. And he goes back a year later to check on this guy, and he's actually doing what he was crying about. He's like, I just want to live a normal life and have a wife and kids and all that stuff. And then the guy gets jealous. He's like, I want that too. Why wouldn't you? Because it looks so good from like the outside. The outside.
But he's just like, man, sometimes you just got to learn how to say no. Like, you're not a puppet in any scenario, not in the doing your job, killing people scenario, or whatever your job is, or the loving father family figure. You got to learn how to say no in both. I think that, that really hits home, and he did say no in both to an extent, Yep. Like, yeah, it's just very interesting to the way they gave him that longing instead of just a killing machine. No offense, John Wick, because we love you on this podcast. You know that. Yes. Don't kill me with a pencil. But yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of this movie, as opposed and also like I said, the just a freaking bloody mess that it was, because that's just phenomenal. And we got a treat. It was a treat for me. I'm not a treat for you, but fucking Doc Brown. Come on.
Yes. I love seeing Christopher Lloyd.
And he's just amazing.
And he's an old man that you think can't take care of himself, but then you realize he is still on top of his game.
Yeah,
you can't sneak into his room and him not know you're there. You're not going to come in and kill him because you think you're badasses, because he's ready for you. It's ridiculous. It's so good.
Oh man, yeah. That was just they were the eyes closed. They come in, just bam. The worst orderly ever.
I love how the guy comes in to check on him, and he's like, "Turn that TV down." And he's like, "Sure." And he's got like a dead man in his lap. He's holding,
letting him die, bleed to death. Yep. Yeah, then pats him on the head. Yeah.
Sure did bring a lot of shotguns. Well, you brought a lot of Russians.
Oh, you brought a lot of Russians, Marty. That's the only way I know how to imitate it. And then, of course, we had the Prince Rakeem, the Obbit, the Zig Zang Zig, the Rizitator, the Scientist, Bobby Digital, a.k.a. the RZA.
Yeah.
As a silent voice at first. And then, of course, he comes in. I wish we got more of a backstory with him. I mean, it was cool the way they set him up, but
yeah, they show the picture. They obviously show he was like they were adopted kids to the dad or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was fine. But I was almost on the fence about him because I'm like, oh great, here's another musician, actor, well, whatever. But he didn't ruin it for me. So no. I appreciate that. He didn't. He
takes the craft very seriously. Like he's been putting out a lot of stuff. Like he did that whole basically homage movie. The Man with the Iron Fists.
Yes.
Like, yeah, so he really understands the industry and it doesn't take it as a joke like some other artists.
Absolutely. Even though I don't normally like that thing, he didn't ruin it for me, so I still appreciate, it.
And it was just damn cool watching him 3-shot with one bullet.
3-shot one, yes. And these fight scenes were good. I mean, they weren't bad. I mean, it looked like he actually put the work in for those. It wasn't just like some hokey thing.
But I would be fine if I never saw another Home Alone montage in another movie. I'm so tired of it.
They did Home Alone the Factory, and but what are you gonna do?
I guess, man. It's so.
I feel like he didn't have to Home Alone the Factory. No. I think he could have done some other stuff.
Them had like 3-4 traps.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to really justify that whole thing.
The shotgun thing was very cool. The shotguns against the wall. I really like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very fun movie.
But it's weird that the dad and the stepbrother, I want to say, came in and they like kind of knew where the traps were without him telling them because like they just knew. But okay, whatever. I'll let it go because it's a fun movie.
But I love the antagonist as well. He is this I don't know why. I'm sure the Russians hate us because we're always using them as the worst people ever in all of our movies.
Is that why we have so many problems with the Russians? we keep screwing them in movies, so of course they're like, well, screw you, America. We're gonna keep jacking with you all the
fucker. I just want to eat my sauerkraut. That's Germans, I think. I'm sorry. But yeah, he's like he has this fucking overwhelming responsibility that he doesn't want. The man clearly just wants to sing and dance, but he has to prove himself on a regular basis that he's this gritty, hardcore motherfucker just because he's gotten hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But he's up there on stage, New York.
That scene, I don't even know what to think about that. I was watching it, I'm thinking, okay, so he's going in, so this guy's probably, he owns the club, right? He's whatever. But then all of a sudden he ends up on stage and he's doing this weird dance and he's like, and the crowd's loving it. I'm like, what's happening? Why is this happening? But,
and then he steps off and he has to fucking bludgeon a man with a champagne glass just to prove that he still has it.
I would have done the same thing. You see the way that guy was looking at him? He was giving him the stink eye. Walks, and you know what? If I was that guy, if I was a Russian mob boss or whatever he was, and the dude looked at me like that, I would have done the same thing.
I would have tagged him in the balls with it. Just to prove an extra point. But yeah, he was very cool. I wish he had more to do, because he was kind of an afterthought. But it's very cool, very very fun movie. Did you have any standout moments for you in this?
There's so many. It's like the opening. Like I said, the opening won me over immediately. I automatically loved the movie just because of the opening. I knew it was going to be good. You pull a kitty cat out of your coat, and I'm on board. And then he just goes through the whole. He's this almost. I don't want to say pathetic, but he's playing like he's almost like Superman playing Kent, right?
Can you imagine your son coming up to you and I was like, "Fucking, I'll use my uncle because you're not fucking man enough, Dad."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I love about it. I love that he took that. He didn't care. Yeah. He's missing the garbage day after day, week after week for whatever reason. His wife probably doesn't think much of him. His daughter loved him no matter what, which I like that little element that his daughter loved him no matter what. And if the son didn't have any respect for him, but the whole time all these people are looking down on him, he knows he's the shit.
This was my house.
Yes. He knows he is the 100%, apex predator in that freaking town.
Godzilla?
He's Godzilla. Yes, he knows it. And they keep hinting at that throughout the entire movie until they finally reveal, like, he's like, yeah.
My only thing is, I love that too, how everyone wants to figure out who he was. Like the chick is doing research trying to find him, and then she does. She just,
I'm down.
Pack her bags. Yeah. But the only thing that got me was, okay, when they first come for him at his house, like, yeah, he tells his family not to call 911, but there's fucking semi-automatics going off in there. Mm-hmm. The neighbors are going to be like, oh, God.
Yeah, the neighbors should have probably done something, but that's just, maybe that's what the real world is like. The neighbors just don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to let you die.
That's how the house is burning.
Well, as long as it's not them. You don't steal your car, but yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this movie. Just a fun ride.
It's ridiculously fun. And I think the neighbor said it best. He's like, if you think about the movie, like, I wonder how fun this movie is going to be. Well, you're about to find out. And it's going to go from 0 to 60, and I'm about to find the fuck out.
Yep.
That's how fast you find out this movie is going to be good, because it just goes there immediately,
and it sets it up perfectly.
And it takes you on a ride, and you can't let go.
Because he's beaten, broken down. Oh, dude! And when he's talking to the whole monologue with the dead Russians,
I love how he tries. I love how he's trying to explain everything on multiple occasions, and then everybody dies basically while he's explaining it. He's like, "Holy shit, talking to nobody."
Yeah. What's all Rotten Tomatoes have to say about this?
Rotten Tomatoes is on board with us, I believe. It's certified fresh at 82%. It probably should be higher. I'm going to say that. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It should be higher than 82%. But 82%. And then the audience score is 94% currently.
Wow.
So that's, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like the audience knows better. Critics got to be critics because that's their job. They got to be critical.
I'm going to go ahead and say we. I'm not going to but we have to pick apart movies to the core, because there are certain things that, a normal audience member is going to go to it just while I'm having a good time with my family and friends. Yeah. Whereas we got a fucking job to do here. All right.
But this is one of those movies where even though we have a job to do, we still enjoyed like an audience member. So it was an easy call. This movie is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It is fucking fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and say go watch.
Absolutely. Go watch. If you ever see a man pull a kitty cat out of his coat, run.
Yes. I mean, I got nothing else to say about it because it's just fantastic.
One thing I will say is I like that it wasn't. Remember back in the day, action movies were like, it was Stallone, it was Schwarzenegger, they were bigger than life. This guy's tiny. And I like that he was like not this invincible force. He was this frail, almost, thing that could get hurt just as much as he was hurting somebody else. And
yeah, there was no real finesse to his fighting.
I appreciated that approach because I feel that lends more to like modern action films being more realistic and acceptable as opposed to the old days when everything like you just had the invincible hero. I'm kind of over the invincible hero, and I'm so much more for like the guy who just wins because that's what he's meant to do, as opposed to
Diesel.
No. Fuck Diesel.
I didn't say it in the news, but he is making a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie.
Well,
so, that'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. But that is episode 174. Yeah. And all the stories we talked about and more can be found on GoWatchAMovie.com. I'll get Robert's trailer up there. Mine is already on there. If you disagree with this movie, let us know, and let us know why, because I want to come and nobody you in the face.
Yeah, I'm going to send the auditor after you if you do.
Yep. And I've been seeing reports of they already have the opening to the sequel written out. They're ready to go. So, looking forward to that. The ending was pretty perfect too.
Yes, it was almost too perfect. I hope they don't introduce the family into his line of work.
Here's what I'm hoping: that guy he thought was out of the game, that inspired him to get out of the game, is the next villain.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's how dirty my mind gets.
That's a new layer of that would be something.
You shouldn't let me go there, nobody, because we don't know his real name. But yeah, actually we do. It's like touch.
Yeah, touch. Yeah. But that's a good angle. It almost depresses me though, because it's like everything he did was because he wanted what that guy had.
Yeah, we got to break him down in the sequel. His whole life's a lie, Robert.
Yeah. I don't want it to be a lie.
But yeah, check out Nobody. It's pretty fantastic. It's on VOD and in some theaters if your theaters are open in your town. Sadly, some theaters have closed their doors for good, but the big boys are still out there. AMC, Regal, etc. So once those get fully open in your town, go watch a movie. That's not the closing, but I'm Kelvin.
I'm Robert.
And you're Nobody. What? Wait, no, it came out wrong. Stop it. Go watch a movie.
Grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety split it. Go watch a movie.